Paula Deen's horrible month continues, so we're going to give you an update on the news in regard to her business dealings, which one continue, which ones have been eliminated, and I also want to respond a little bit to some of the commentary in the comment section under the last Paula Deen video we covered, but we're going to do that in just a couple of minutes. First, she lost not only her latest book deal, it was almost certainly going to be a bestseller, that has now been suspended. Her business dealings with Walmart, with the Food Network, are currently kaput. Now, could she come back in the future? Certainly, but many of her deals are currently at least suspended, if not terminated. Also, by the way, I thought this is sort of an interesting one. I didn't know that she had this business dealing, but she worked with Novo Nordisk, which is a pharmaceutical company that deals with diabetes drugs, and she had some sort of sponsorship with them. Now, they're not saying that they've terminated the business dealings with her. They've just suspended it for now. I imagine they're very closely watching how people are going to continue to respond to Paula Deen, but it's currently suspended. As I said, she lost her TV shows, she lost her book deal, so it hasn't been going very well for her. Now, obviously, if you're Paula Deen, this is not a good time for you. She recently got a crisis manager, a fairly famous one that I wasn't previously familiar with, but it's going to help her try to get through this. And look, the way the attention span of America works, in a month or 3 months or certainly 6 months, there's no reason why Paula Deen couldn't make some sort of epic return, rising out of the ashes as a phoenix, or I guess out of, burnt food crumbs or something like that. That might be more topical. And so I don't doubt that she'll be able to make millions more in the future. I think that personally she should take this as an opportunity to go independent and start a major YouTube food network. That seems like that would be possibly more lucrative in the future, and she could use that to launch product lines and books and things like that. But anyway, so that's the state of her business dealings. When it comes to the actual situation with Paula Deen, a lot of people responded to the video by saying, "Why are you so mean to her? Like, she made a mistake," or "Is it so bad that she's racist?" Or simply saying that what she did was not racist. I'm not really going to debate that. I think that if you don't think that some of the videos we showed you were racist, I don't think you can be convinced otherwise. I mean, she pointed to a black background and said, "I have a friend as black as this." That's pretty damn racist. But I will say, the comments first. The things that she said, I'm white. I find racism to be somewhat offensive, but obviously I'm not personally offended by the comments. They didn't destroy my life or anything like that. I simply reported them to you. But they did bother a lot of people, not universally, but many people. And initially the Food Network, the strongest business connection she had, decided to terminate her contract. Now, should they have done that? I think that's sort of an interesting philosophical question. Many people seem to imply in the comments that they shouldn't have, but the thing is, they're free to employ whoever they want, and they obviously got rid of her because they believe that she's going to damage them financially in the future. If they think that they're going to lose money because of her, why would they employ her? And if you have a major problem with their move to fire her, I think there's sort of an underlying assumption there, or an implication that, they shouldn't be allowed to fire her? Which is odd, because you certainly wouldn't have said that months before the racism was revealed. And so it's sort of a weird world, a weird twisted bizarro land where you're allowed to fire a non-racist, but once someone reveals themselves as a racist, you better not fire them. That's weird. Doesn't really compute with America. And I think that they were free to do what they did. Now, on the converse, if they decided to keep her employed, I think that they're free to do that. We don't prosecute people for thought crimes. Being a racist is not illegal in America. It's just unwise if you want to make a lot of money in a very public way, unless you're on Fox News or something like that. And so I think they were free to do what they did. But I should point out that many people also attacked me directly. I assume not actual viewers of the program on a regular basis, but just really worked up Paula Deen fans, saying, "Why am I attacking her?" Look, I'm just showing you videos that she publicly took. She was saying these things. It wasn't under interrogation or anything like that. And also, the real problem that I have is not the things that she said, but it's the way that she ran her business. And so why we're finding out about much of this is because of the testimony, the written depositions and all that's coming out. These are because of lawsuits. The lawsuits came about because of the way that she ran her business. For instance, the most, I think, egregious example was not allowing dark-skinned African Americans to be in public relations sort of positions in the company. She felt apparently that people would be uncomfortable with extremely dark-skinned African Americans. That goes beyond just what you think about people a little bit, or maybe an off-the-cuff remark or something like that. That's the way you run your business. That's the sort of discrimination that is not legal. You can think whatever you want, but there are protections in terms of how you run your business when it comes to race amongst other protected groups like religion and sexual orientation and things like that. And that's where it becomes a major problem. You're allowed to think whatever you want. To some extent, you're allowed to say whatever you want. And certainly in America, if Amanda Bynes is any example, you're allowed to tweet whatever you want. But when you actually are impeding people's progress within the company because of your racist beliefs and your racist upbringing, that's where it becomes a major problem. So that's all the Paula Deen we've got for you today. Unfortunately, no new juicy quotes or videos came up, but we will be watching at least for a week until we, like the rest of America, forget about it, and then a few months go by and she comes back and starts selling ways to make tastier donuts or something. That's gonna happen.